when I was a little girl, I always wanted to start a business. I used to work in my mom's toy shop and doing selling, and I really enjoyed the whole experience of getting the customers, selling them products. And as I grew older, I wanted to get the education to go along with that. And we are both immigrants from Turkey. We came here back in '98. We went to a business school in Turkey. We met in Turkey, and then we came here for our master's degree in business to San Diego State to further our land of opportunities.
I grew up as a son of a civil servant, so for me, I looked at the future and I was told about going to a good school, getting accepted to a good multinational job, and I saw that as my way to maybe a more affluent life. Unlike Zeynep, where she was able to experience, I think, a more entrepreneurial life thanks to her parents' different jobs. But Turkey is a very diverse culture. It's a very historical place. I think that diversity gave us good reasons to look at well, when we came to the United States. I think it helped us to have that kind of exposure.
I want to add to it from a woman's standpoint, because when I was growing up, and it's not like that right now anymore, but especially on the eastern side of Turkey, women were second in line. You can't behave a certain way. You shouldn't be talking a certain way. Sometimes you shouldn't dress a certain way. Having your own business as a woman is not something that you're heard of, and there's a lot of roadblocks. And for me, that was not okay as a woman, and that's one of the reasons that drew me to America, because we were reading about the American dream. We were seeing it in the movies, and it was very inspirational for me as a woman. So I think those are the two perspectives when we came here, that yes, you can have a business here, you can have a business as an immigrant, you can have a business as a woman, you can have a business as a minority.
Zeynep and I, we went to Boğaziçi University in Turkey. That's where we met. We're both undergraduates of economics. I chose that option, like I said, thinking that I would graduate, find a great job, and go steps through the corporate ladder. And I think Zeynep, in her case, being a child of entrepreneurs that really didn't do it by the book, they had ups, a little bit more downs. Chicken farms, toy stores, transportation, all over the place. So I think in her case, she was more looking at more theoretical ways of doing a business. But after we graduated, we found great jobs. Zeynep started working for Deloitte. I started working for a bank, and coming to the United States wasn't really in our plans. But in the first job that I found in a bank, even though I was successful enough to promote and get into a really good spot in a couple of years, the bank that I used to work for was acquired by a corrupt businessman. I can say it corrupt because a couple of years later he went to prison for it. But I saw how it did not really play out the way it was, and I was worried that in Turkey I wouldn't be able to fulfill that goal of going through the corporate ladder. And then Zeynep and I, we talked about it. We said maybe we should try to go somehow to United States. So we made a list. We looked at different cities, good metro areas with vibrant economy, and we chose different schools that are affordable but also had good business schools. So San Diego State, Arizona State, and I think University of Washington were the three choices. And I'm glad that we made the right choice and came to San Diego State. It really didn't start as a choice. After I graduated from San Diego State, unlike Zeynep, my plan wasn't to get into entrepreneurship, but just find a good job for a big company or a company that has a chance to grow. Some of the challenges of being an international student is when you graduate, especially back then, there were less flexible rules, so I had to find a job. I had to find a job quick to be able to continue, living in the United States and working in the United States. And I couldn't do that with a large organization. Instead, I happened to find a job in a lightly funded, very small internet retailer. And this is, keep in mind, this is the late 90s. So internet retailer wasn't just a really, common idea back then. But the moment that I joined that small team, I really liked that dynamism of a small organization, how you come to work and try to find, you find problems, you try to solve them. Nothing stays the same. You never get bored. And, okay, it wasn't safe in terms of financial stability, but I just liked that. I liked that dynamism. And that lightly funded company went out of business only less than a year after that. And by that, Zeynep found a job. So we had somewhat of a stability, and our work permit problem was kind of, still okay. So I decided to, give it a shot and start a company. And our first attempt was, looking back, it was more like a plugin-based Google site search. And we built the product. It was a nice technology, pretty, I think, innovative at the time. But the moment that we went to market, it was the time that the internet bubble burst. So we just couldn't do anything. There was no customers that wanted to buy the technology. So Zeynep and I, we talked about it and said, maybe I do like entrepreneurship. I didn't know about it, but I liked what it meant and how to solve problems and make changes. So we decided to start the only company that we could afford, which was an e-commerce company. And literally using the the $2,000 credit limit we had on our credit card. I started a B2C e-commerce company, and Zeynep started working for a nonprofit, and I think that was the way we first exposed to entrepreneurship in the United States.
2008 is when there was the bubble and the whole, the economic downturn in the U.S. And I still believe that the best time to start a business is when there's an economic downturn, because if you can survive those times, you can survive almost any other time.
So we decided to, focus less on e-commerce and get out of some of these businesses. In fact, we sold a couple of things, closed down a couple of them, and in the process, we chose the area of point of care diagnostics as an area because it was, it was an exciting place, we thought, that was about to grow. And that's what basically Confirm Biosciences is. It's a commercialization company that works with manufacturers and laboratories and brings all kinds of different testing solutions into use, either utilizing internet or some SaaS solutions. And now it's pretty common to think about test kits that you can buy and do at home, but literally back then, there was nothing like that.
Our garage was our warehouse. A lot of the times, the vendors we work with, they would ship for us. So we really didn't have any inventory costs. We don't have any office space costs. Everything was very low cost for us. That was the only way we could do it. And then over time, we saw that, as Serhat said, the diagnostic business was a nice niche market, a growing market, not too populated, that was really taking off. And that's how we decided to start Confirm Biosciences in 2008. There was actually a product in the market. It was a hair test done at home that was it was a great idea, but the product was horrible. And we were selling it. We knew how horrible it was. And we had our aha moment when we said, wait a minute, we can do this so much better. We can do this so much better. And we know how to commercialize. We know how to market. As we started growing, when you start your first employee, second employee, it gets kind of, okay, now I have to learn how to manage other people. And, you learn a lot in business school, but some of this hands-on experience, you really got to experience it to learn it better. And, we immersed ourselves into reading, learning about leadership, going to seminars. And I always believe that, and this is what I tell our boys, leadership is not something you're born with. You really have to learn it. You have to learn to be a good listener. You have to learn how to be a good speaker, how to lead people. And so just thinking that, oh, I'm a natural born leader, I don't believe in that. Just like I don't believe in, I believe in luck, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's what I believe in as well.
I mean, the fact that we had each other was great because we complemented each other, and our strengths are completely different. And it took us a while to figure out ways to communicate so that we can use those differences in a productive way. So I think our most important strength was the way we could communicate among each other, but then communication with the employees as well. And we built our company with the principles of trust, passion, and teamwork. In terms of what's our message to them in terms of entrepreneurship, unlike Zeynep, I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. I just kind of fell into it. It came from necessity, but then I fell in love with it. And yes, there's no standard way of being an entrepreneur. Just like there's no standard way of being a leader. I mean, everybody have to find their, a leadership that will fit their skin. But a leader has to be a good communicator and a good listener. That's, I think, a must. Even if you might not born with it, we can learn it.
We had this wonderful experience at San Diego State with our professors, Alex at the EMC, Sandy back then, all the teachers, that we just wanted a way to give back. And, but give back in a way that it benefits students that might be going through similar struggles. And just letting them know that, you know what, you're not alone. We're going to be a helping hand, and just pay it forward. And that's why we were, it's been an honor, of course, to be in a position to do that.